Hey guys, today I'm going to take this $5 waterlogged particle board monstrosity and turn it into an amazing and beautiful storage piece for my new studio. I'm going to transform it, I'm going to embellish it, I'm going to antique it, glam it up, all of that's going to be sprinkled together. If that sounds like something you want to see, stick around. This needs serious help, and I'm going to take care of that.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane.
Because the damage is so extensive on this, on the top and on the bottom from water, and it's particle board, I think I'm just going to use scrap wood that I have, and I'm going to cut out a top and a bottom to add to this, sandwich it in really good, fill in all the joints, and try to give myself a smooth surface that way. And just using things I have, I'm going to actually make it pretty spectacular and worth my time here. I have this piece of wood left over from some project, I don't even know what, but it will definitely make a top and a bottom. Give me a better, smoother, cleaner surface to work with. I can fill in all of this and sand all of that out. I can contour things, but I need to have a good top and a new bottom to be able to work. Your project's only as good as the foundation, so. And then I'll figure out my next course of action for attacking this. It's a challenge, and I love a challenge. This is an absolute trash to treasure challenge, and I'm up for the challenge, and I'm gonna conquer this challenge. You know what I mean? Let's get this done. Does the pencil right? There. Now, because of the amount of damage on this piece, the fact that it is particle board, there is lots of water damage, it's puffed up here and there, I actually think my best course of action is using a texture additive into my paint. That's going to help hide some of these imperfections. It'll go with what I see happening in my head, but I think that's the best course of action for something with damage of this magnitude. So many others would have been like, I wouldn't pay $5 for that. That is trash. Probably wasn't worth the $5, but to me it was. This was an $80 piece from Home Goods that somehow got some pretty crappy damage done to it, and I'm going to save it. To start, all of the pieces of particle board that are puffed out, I am actually going to cut away with a razor, and then I am going to fill in all of this with Dixie Belle mud, and it's going to take quite a lot of mud to get the bottom to a place where I'll be happy with it, and the top. I've got to fill in and hide and mask all of this water damage, which I'm sure I can, but it's just going to take some time. Once it gets all on there, you have to let this sit for the night. It's a lot of mud, and it is going to take some drying time. And don't worry about perfection. You're absolutely not going to get perfection working on a piece like this, so don't try to strive for it. I actually enjoy working on pieces like this. I believe that it gives you different scenarios for things that can come up that you can hone your skills on. I'm going to have to do a bit of everything to save this piece, and I will have trials and I will have errors and I will learn from it. But picking up a piece that others would turn away from and putting the time and attention into all different techniques and different methods and different materials to make this piece beautiful again, I highly recommend it. It is so good for your skills as a furniture artist, a flipper, whatever your scenario may be. Practice makes perfect. There's a million ways to do something. It's kind of fun trying to discover them all. Thankfully, the inside of this cabinet is absolutely pristine. The damage was only done on the outside top and the bottom, so I do not plan on doing anything to the inside of this cabinet. Work smarter, not harder is my theory. And to hide that frosted glass so you can't see through it whatsoever, I have an absolutely fabulous idea that I am super excited to share with you. But for now, this has to dry. I'm going to sand it by hand with a 220 grit because I want to smooth the curves as best as possible. Obviously, feather off the lines of the mud itself. But when you're doing this, it's best to do things like this by touch, by hand. You don't need a power tool for this step. You want just the pressure of your own hands. You can feel the work as you go. You control the pressure, you control the speed, you control every aspect of it. Perfection is not even an option with this piece. This is salvage and making it look incredible from where it started. So I'm not going to worry too much about straightness and flatness. I just want all of my mudded parts to blend in with the existing cabinet and not be obvious that it's all been replaced. The paint technique that I'm going to use with all of these layers and textures and everything I'm going to share with you is also going to disguise the fact that it's not going to be perfect, but it is going to be fabulous. Stick with me. Now there's going to come up spots that are going to need a little bit more filler, and that's absolutely fine. I thought there'd be a whole lot more, to be honest. Feeling for the feathering, I'm feeling to make sure my line isn't sharp. I think the top of this piece needs to have some embellishments done with my molds. I am going to make some beautiful ones. I've decided on this one. I think that will look really pretty. And I'm also going to add some embellishments on the corners. I'm going to use my Aluminite Amazing casting resin. If you use the white one, you can cast a piece in like 15 minutes. When you pull it from the mold, as soon as it's ready, it's very pliable and flexible and it bends very nicely. So that's what you want to do. You want to catch it when it's warm, pull it out, get it on there, use some tape and some good glue. You're good to go. It's nice and bendable. Like this. Or with such a bend, I like to really reinforce the piece. So, it might be overkill, but I want it to stay. All right. Next. So I molded a bunch of different keyholes. And just get that right there. And then I'm going to also attach one of those cutouts there and at the bottom. And then all this can dry. You really need to let these corners cure because that bend is so severe. If you take it off too soon, I'm telling you, it'll just pop back out and you don't want that. All good things come to those who wait. Definitely that one. It's cured. I'm going to remove the tape and take a look at it. Everything looks fabulous. It's exactly how it should be, molded the way it should be, and securely attached. So now I'm going to apply 2 coats of primer using my Bins primer. Because I'm going to do a textured look, I'm just going to use a chip brush and apply it. If you were going for a very smooth finish end result, you would want to roll your primer on. For me, it doesn't matter. The more texture I can create, the better. I ended up putting 2 coats of primer on this piece because it's just a really horrible surface to work with for paint. I really should have sanded it. In hindsight, I should have sanded before I put the primer on, but hey, lesson learned. That's how we learn things. We learn by our mistakes. And I'll make it work. It will work. It's just going to be a little bit more work for me to make it work, but that's all fine. It's all part of the experience. For the base on this, I am going to use Dixie Belle Hurricane Gray. I'm going to get the first coat on with a brush. The second coat, we're going to add some texture, but I'll explain that when we get there. Should put a glove on long ago, but better late than never. And that's pretty. I am liking that. Okay. Hurricane Gray. Oh yeah. I let the piece sit for the night so the primer in the first layer of base coat would cure completely. I don't want any moisture left in the paint. If you try to rush this step and you try to paint over paint that still has moisture in it, it's going to pull right off the surface, especially a surface that is this slippery. So it had to cure. Now I'm going to put my second base coat on using the exact same Hurricane Gray from Dixie Belle, but I'm going to be adding some texture to the paint for a piece such as this. I had to fill so much in. Nothing is perfect on this piece, and this is going to actually hide those imperfections that still remain, because I gotta spend hours and hours and hours and hours prepping this thing to get it to a perfect finish, but I am not all about that. I knew that the layer of texture would take care of and hide any imperfections that may remain. The goal is for nobody to be able to see them, and I'm going to do that with this. So I'm going to mix this up and get a whole layer on this and let it dry. I'm going to put it on in like a stippling, slapping manner. You do not want to use a good brush when you're doing stippling. It does ruin the brush over time, so don't use a good brush and do stippling. Just going to start applying it, and because I'm creating texture, it doesn't matter how it's applied. I want to stipple it. Get some of that gorgeous texture. Like that. Absolutely beautiful. You can go as heavy or as light as you want with the texture you're creating. It's your look. It's entirely up to you. Some spots I have heavier, others I have lighter coverage. It's all a preference. You want it to be organically aged and weathered and worn, and that is what a texturizing additive brings to the table, and I am loving the Fresco by Fusion. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful product. And you don't have to be absolutely thorough with this layer. There's still more layers going over this. Look at all that gorgeous texture on here. It's heavier in some spots, it's lighter in others, and I think this was the perfect choice for this finish. I am stepping back constantly to take the whole piece in as a whole and put it where I need it, but it is coming out amazing. For this piece, I am literally taking inspiration right from my back door on this gorgeous weathered, rusted piece of metal. I love the look, the texture, the colors, the organicness, everything about this beautiful piece of nature's art I love. And now I'm not going to be able to replicate it exactly. I want to kind of get that look. So I'm going to use several different colors in several different layers, pile the colors on where I think they would be, blend them together. But here's the thing. This is a very slippery base, remember. Anytime you add paint over a layer, you reactivate the moisture in the bottom layer, which can result in the paint getting pulled. So you don't want to use too much paint. You don't want to use too much water. You don't want to use too much force. You don't want to have a heavy hand. Do it like you would wipe the tears off your grandson's face if he was crying. Nice and gentle, back and forth, dab at it, nothing hard because you'll damage what's underneath, especially on a cheap surface such as this entire base, which I still cannot believe this was $80 at Home Goods made out of crap particle board. Seriously. And people wonder why I refinish vintage and antique pieces. They're all wood. I'm going to use a rusty nail color. I'm going to use sandbar, which is kind of a white, and I'm going to actually use this to mute and blend other colors. I'm going to use a little mint julep, and I debated between this and mermaid tail because I want that verdigris kind of look, if you will. Not full on, but I think a little touch of this would be nice. And then, of course, a deep, gorgeous chocolate brown. This is the base color of any rust. Aside from the colors that I'm going to use to create the rust, we need a few other things to be able to make this happen. One, a water mister. This is not a spray bottle that you can go to the Dollar Tree and get. It's a mister. It's much finer. It doesn't put out as much water as a normal spray bottle does. I have chip brushes. I have small chip brushes for every color that I'm going to use. And I have a lint-free cotton rag for dabbing. Now, as I'm putting this on, it is going to look downright scary at moments. It's going to, oh my gosh, Shawn, what are you doing? You've ruined it. Trust the process. Trust the process, because in the end, it is all going to come together and it's going to look amazing. But it takes a hot minute for it to happen, and it's kind of scary getting there. No fear. Trust yourself and your abilities. I'm basically going to start with the chocolate brown and the rusty nail color. I am going to dab them all over the piece, and I don't mind if a little bit of the gray pokes through. The goal is not total coverage. The goal is to kind of give it a textured, padded on feel, heavier in some spots, lighter in others. And again, you just kind of have to step back and look at the piece and go, okay, where would the red go? Where would some filigree go? And that's basically how I am approaching this piece. I'm really happy with how this is coming out. It is honestly looking like true rusted metal to me. All of the colors are coming together. It is creating the organic look that I'm going for. So I'm just going to continue this process all over the piece where I think the colors should be. There's no right and there's no wrong. It is all a preference to what your eye sees. I'm loving what my eye's seeing. I'm not going to lie. I am totally loving on this piece. You'll see me spritzing this piece throughout the process because that helps keep the chalk paint moving. It makes it blendable. It makes everything go together so much more silky and smoothly. If you try to do it without, it's not going to move. Your paint will just kind of stay in the spot it's in instead of blending in with the others. If you find your paint dries out while you're doing the project, just give it a quick little spritz again, reactivate it, and you're good to keep going. I was thinking of doing a little bit of leafing on it. I am going to sprinkle glam all over this in the form of copper leafing, and it is going to be absolutely fabulous. You need to use a special glue made specifically for metal leafing. This glue you then apply to the areas where you want the metal leafing to stick, and you let it sit. It goes on white. It turns transparent and tacky when it is ready to accept the leafing on it. You want to be very careful with your placement of the glue, however, because wherever you get this glue, you will get gold leafing. I have several different detail brushes on hand just for my gold leafing to make sure I can get it everywhere I need it to be. Now, the secret for using any type of leaf is a gloved hand. And that's the hand you're going to handle the leaf with. Get my leaf, and I've got a little detail brush. Look how pretty that is. You can take pieces, put it where you need it. Now, using my chocolate brown, I am actually going to go over the copper a bit. And then ever so delicately, remember wiping the tears away from a child's eye. That's all you want. We are going to just add a little bit of this green to it, because copper definitely takes on a green, brown, rusty patina. There's more green when it comes to copper. So I'm gonna actually tap this off, really unload my brush. See that? Would definitely be on the top. And then it would run down. I mean, look at how that just really takes that copper to a whole nother level. Now that my finish is to where I want to take it one step further, and I'm going to do that by using my acrylic paints, oranges and yellows, possibly blues and greens, and I am going to create even more realistic inorganic rust going down this piece, exactly like you would find it out in nature, using an amazing technique. Using my mister, I have a little cup of paint, and I'm going to attempt to make some rust drippage down this, just like naturally rust would drip. Start with a little bit of the orange and the yellow. It's kind of right in there. And I'm going to spritz it and let it run down, just like it would. Do you see it running down? Again, do a little bit over here. Don't want to add too much, because you could ruin it. Spritz it and let that run right down. Get those colors. You can totally soften up the orange in there. Like that. A little bit right in there. See how it just creates that beautiful drippage like you would get with organic rust. I'm going to add a little bit to the top, but the top's actually going to be a little bit more filigree, so I'm actually going to go in with some blue and some green. Yeah, under there like it would. That running down. That's what we want. That is the look I am absolutely going for. Again, you can tone your colors down a bit. While the cabinet is drying, I want to take a moment and thank today's sponsor, Rolling Dog. Rolling Dog sent me this amazing 14-in-1 painter's tool. This tool replaces 14 tools in my drawer. It has a soft rubber grip around a full tang blade. The blade is made out of 420 stainless steel. It definitely has some weight to it, not a cheap feeling item whatsoever. This little tool right here is a metal hammer cap, clean cracks, curved scraper. We all need those. Bottle opener. You've got to have your beverages while you're working. You can use the curved edge to clean rollers, mini and full size. The centerpiece you can use to actually pull nails. It has a 7, an 8, a 10, and a 13 millimeter wrench capabilities right in the center. Very handy for getting off that old hardware. You can use it to open your paint cans, spread your compound, and scrape away old paint and debris. I love that it has an actual tapered edge so you can really get into those details in lines. It has different points that allow you to get into the different contours and grooves of different projects. This is a must-have. Rolling Dog's Elite Performance 14-in-1 Painter's Tool can be yours by following the exclusive link down below. And I have a giveaway for you guys. Rolling Dog sent me this incredible socket set that I am going to gift to one of my subscribers. In order to be eligible to win this, you have to live in the United States, subscribe to my channel, like this post, and leave me a comment, and you could be the winner of this very useful ratchet set. I want to thank Rolling Dog for sponsoring today's video. This is a must-have tool if you are into furniture flipping, furniture repair, furniture art. Even if you're not and you just kind of do home repairs and you're looking for that all-in-one tool, look no further. Rolling Dog's got you covered. Be sure to pop down into the link below and go over and check out Rolling Dog for yourself. And don't forget to enter the contest. I want to thank Rolling Dog for sponsoring today's video. Alright, gonna get some antiquing wax on, some Krylon antiquing wax. It's kind of like a dark browny black wax, but I didn't want black. When you're doing an aging wax, you have to have a surface that will allow you to move the aging wax around on, which is why I did the spray polyurethane on this. You cannot just go right over chalk paint with wax and think that you can move it and remove it as you want. It'll just kind of look mucky and murky, and that's not what I'm going for. One tip though, if you do find that you have put too much wax on and you want to remove it, you can remove it using clear wax or mineral spirits. So all is not lost, but you have to have a surface that it can slide on. My surface is ready. I have a nice small chip brush, cotton lint-free rag, and that's what I'm gonna do to pull it back off of. And I'm just gonna start applying it how I think it should look. There is no right way to do this. It is all by your artist's eye, your feeling, your gut, and what the piece is telling you. I'm just gonna dab it in there. Don't be afraid. Trust the process. Don't be like, oh, what are you doing? You'll see. Now I'm just going to pull it back. You see how it just really lends more to the finish than just without it? On these parts, I want to kind of keep it going in the motion you would naturally find it, in the downward motion. And I'm going to work my way across. I want to make sure you really get it into all of those cracks and crevices, which is why the stippling motion is the technique to use, because that's what's going to stay once we pull it all back. So, and again, pull it back. Expose those colors. And just look at that. how gorgy Georgie is that? And you can still see all of the colors underneath, which is what I want. Although this technique is a great technique to mask imperfections and things that you can't fix and want to cover up, it's also a patina. It's also a design element within itself. This is character that you just didn't have before this was added. It looks so beautiful. You don't want it to overpower the piece. All of these have to go together cohesively and do their job. Each one has a certain part in this production. Think of this as a stage in every piece we've done as a player. The only star of the show is the cabinet itself when we're done. Everybody else works together harmoniously and seamlessly and wonderfully. And this is just beautiful. I am loving this. So I'm gonna keep going. Get some right up in here. And you don't have to be completely thorough with it. You don't have to cover everything. It literally is a preference. Look at that. Oh, so beautiful. So, so beautiful. Now for this, wipe it down. Just like that. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Step back, take it all in. Looking good. As you're applying the wax, if you're not sure where to put it, just think of an old piece of furniture. Where is it mostly handled? Where is it mostly touched? Where is it mostly dusty and dirty? Those are the areas that you want to highlight with as much or as little wax as you want in the areas. I use varying degrees. It's heavier in some spots, it's lighter in the others, but it's all cohesively blended together, and it truly does look as organic and natural as possible. I have exceeded my own expectations with this one for real. This entire transformation has been pretty impressive, even for myself as the designer behind it. I just can't get over that this is even the same cabinet. It doesn't look anything like it did. Literally nothing. I still have to do the very bottom. That's still wet because all the water ran down there and I want it to dry good. But that's all that's left is the bottom and this glass. But look at this patina. It looks so good. Look at that. That gorgeous, gorgeous rust look is exactly what I wanted. It's spectacular. So easy to do. Look at that. That beautiful lock. Oh, so pretty. And the keyhole detail is perfect. Embellishments on the door look fantastic. I love the corner pieces and the top. Oh, absolutely beautiful. The inside of this cabinet is in pristine condition. There is no damage whatsoever. And because it is a really crappy surface to work with as far as paints go, I don't want to mess with it. But I also don't want to see it through the frosted glass. And right now, you still can see that it's green inside. But I have this amazing technique that is going to create a faux leather look. That process and what I'm doing will be coming up very soon. Be sure to subscribe and tune in for that. I'm going to continue decoupaging over this glass. My goal is to make it so that you cannot see through it anymore. And then I don't have to worry about what the inside of the cabinet looks like. I'm not selling this piece. It's for my use, for my storage in my new studio. And I'm okay with it being green inside. I created one final resin mold for this piece in the form of a sophisticated fox with a top hat bust. I have been dying to use this mold, and I am so excited to do so now. The fox is orange because I was playing with mica powder, but it's not the color I want for the piece, so I have a different idea. I decided to cover the fox in the same copper leafing I used on the piece. Once I have it completely entombed in the copper, I am also going to do the same paint treatment that I did on it. The same colors, the same way. I'm going to layer it exactly the same. I'll even spritz the water on it to get that effect as well. And then we'll be ready to apply it to the front of the cabinet. If you are still with me, I totally appreciate it. We are almost at the end of this amazing tutorial and transformation, and I appreciate you guys more than ever for sticking with me and seeing how it's done. I attached the resin fox over the sealed decoupage using my Thick and Quick glue exactly where I wanted it, and I let it set up. Now I'm going to apply the same glazing medium over the entire piece, including over the decoupage, and I'm going to wipe it off just the way I did on the cabinet. I'll leave it heavier in some spots. It'll pick up on the creases, and it's really going to make the front look like leather, like aged old leather that has just been around forever and ever. The last step was to add some decorative shelf paper to each of the shelves inside, and this cabinet is complete. If this trash to treasure transformation does not inspire you that anything is possible, I don't know what else to give you. I cannot believe this is the same cabinet. This looks nothing like that waterlogged piece of garbage, basically, that I picked up for $5. This, with this new patina, this faux rust finish came out beautifully. The textured paint was perfect for hiding everything on this piece from top to bottom and from bottom to top. Using all of the beautiful colors of rust and some wonderful techniques I shared with you, it was super easy to get that organic, natural rust look. I let it run down, I let it gather, I let it collect, and the end result is this phenomenal finish. It's beautiful. I love it. It has amazing storage inside. Maybe someday I'll paint it, maybe I won't. Nobody's going to see it but me, so it doesn't matter. The point is, I did it and I made something absolutely phenomenally amazing. And yes, I am patting myself on the back because I am in love with this piece. I think it came out amazing. What do you guys think? I have been waiting to use this mold. Could I get any happier with this project? Because I'm not thinking that I can. I am so happy with how this came out. I'm blown away. I floored myself. I went beyond what I thought was possible. And in the end result, I have this amazing cabinet that looks nothing like it did when I got it. I am going to share the technique that I used on the center of this in another video. That deserves its own spotlight. It's an incredible technique that you can use for so many different things. And once you learn it, you're going to be like, give this video a like and turn on those notifications so you will never miss a transformation upload. Because I'm telling you, they're just going to keep coming. I have so many more to share with you, but this, I hope, has inspired you to truly look beyond the outside of something. Use your imagination. A piece like this is also great practice for someone just starting out with flipping and paint techniques and faux finishes. This piece requires so many different techniques to get it to this stage that it's actually wonderful for you, for your skills, for honing it in. So I highly suggest that you at least once in your life find a real trashy condition piece like this one was and turn it into something amazing, because I'm blown away. I cannot wait to get these pieces in my studio, and I can't wait for you to see what's in store next. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.